Dear students, in the previous class we discussed Constitution. Today we are moving to another lesson. You know, my dear children, the history of India can be divided into, classified into three. First one is ancient history, second one is medieval history, and third one is modern history. In the previous classes and especially in 8th standard, we discussed ancient history. Today we are moving to medieval history, medieval India and its political transition. Today we are moving to say medieval India and political transition, political shift, political transition. Dear children, the period between second half of the 12th century and first half of the 13th century is recognized as the transitional period in Indian history. Which one? The period between the second half of the 12th century. Second half of the 12th century and first half of the 13th century. The first half of the 13th century. 13th century is called, is recognized as the transitional period in Indian history. Here, what do you mean by transitional? A change, a rapid change which witnessed in Indian history, in political scenario, in religious scenario and the social system. This is called transitional. This is called transitional. Here, what does it indicate? Here, what does it indicate? What does it indicate? It indicates, this transitional period indicates the preparedness of the society to enter from one era to another era. One era to means the second half of the 12th century to first half of the 13th century. Recognized as the transitional period. From one era to the shifting from ancient era to medieval history. See, in this transitional period, the Indian society entered into medieval period. See, this is called transitional. In this period, transitional. In this period, Indian society entered the medieval period from the ancient period. See, here so many things to be recollected, but now let us see. The Turks broke the political system of the small kingdoms in India. Turks means, you know that, Delhi Sultans, the Turks who made advent to India and they changed the political scenario. They changed the political scenario of India. That means the Turks broke the political system of small kingdoms. They changed means small kingdoms were replaced. Small kingdoms. There were so many small kingdoms, tiny kingdoms in India. But these Turks broke out. They broke out this political system. They also established an empire which had a strong centralized power structure. See, the power is centered. Means here the king is the head of the state. He is the whole and soul of the kingdom. His word is final. He is the supremo in judiciary, executive and everything. Such a centralized political structure and power structure was established after the advent of Turks. They also established an empire which had strong centralized power structure. Means strong centralized power structure. Who were responsible for this? Turks were responsible. See, in this transitional period, they brought so many changes. One such change is this. Then monotheism was expounded in the field of religion. What do you mean by monotheism? See, the changes we witnessed in this period, that is one such changes is monotheism. Monotheism, worshipping of one God. Worshipping of one God. That was expounded, and that idea was stressed in the field of religion due to the influence of Islam. What? Due to the influence of Islam, monotheism was expounded. All this development indicates the beginning of medieval period in India. These are all that what we called earlier, that transitional period. These are all the some changes took place during this transitional era, shifting from one era to another era. One era means the end of ancient and what is stepping to medieval period. Here all these developments indicate the beginning of medieval period in India. See, before the study of empire established Turks, you know that due to the advent of Turks, a lot of change occurred in Indian history, right? It is necessary to understand multi-state political system of pre-Turk period. Before we going to understand how they established centralized power structure, before we going to study, we should understand here multi-state political system was prevailing. See, there were so many tiny kingdoms were there. There were so many small kingdoms were there. They are living. How did it means? Here they did not concentrate on a large empire. They did never. There were so many small kings. That is called multi-state political system of pre-Turk period. That is called multi-state political system. Multi-state political system. Yes. Today, let us begin and let's go through this. And then the rule of small kings is called as multi-political system. Before we going to understand this, what is multi-state? Here you have to give a slight dash multi-states. Now let us see multi-state political system. The study of multi-state political system can be started with the study of Rajput dynasties. If you want to study the multi-state political system of this country, you have to study this multi-political system with the study of Rajput dynasties. What? Here, what do you mean by multi-state political system? Very simple. The rule of small kings is called as multi-state political system. Rule of small kings is called as multi-state political system. Then the start of multi-state political system can be started with the study of Rajput dynasties. You know that Rajputs are known for valor. They are warriors. They are known for good administration. They patronized literature. They patronized for art and architecture. See, if you trace the history of Rajputs, it is most colorful and vibrant history of India. So, we have to start with the study of Rajput dynasties that ruled the western and northern India from 9th century to 13th century. Western part of India, just see the Google image. Now let us begin Rajput dynasties. Rajput dynasties. You know, there are so many Rajput dynasties. Pratiharas, Gurjara Pratiharas, then Solankis, Chandels, Chauhans, likewise. After the rule of Vardhanas of Taneshwara, after the rule of Vardhanas of Taneshwara, you know that one of the prominent ruler of Vardhana dynasty, Harshavardhana. After the vanquish of Vardhana dynasty, most of the western and northern India was ruled by Gurjara Pratiharas. Chandelas of Bundelkhand, Garhwalas, Solankis, Paramaras and many other Rajput dynasties. When after the vanquish of after Vardhanas of Taneshwar, we are talking about the region, especially northwestern region. Northwestern region means just I'll give, see this region, these regions, northwestern part ruled by Gurjara Pratiharas, Chandelas, then Garhwalas, Solankis, Paramaras and many other Rajput dynasties. By the end of 12th century, Rajput kings like Prithviraj Chauhan, Jayachandra, Garhwal and Chandelas were the powerful rulers of northern western parts. Today we are moving to see Gurjara Pratihara, one of the prominent dynasties, that is Gurjara Pratihara dynasties. One of the prominent dynasty of Rajput are Gurjara Pratiharas. The Pratiharas have claimed in many of their inscriptions that the Lakshmana of Ramayana period, a Kshatriya of Surya Vamsha, as the founding person of their family. They claim in many of their inscriptions that Lakshmana of Ramayana period, a Kshatriya of Surya Vamsha, as the founding person of their family. But as per the available evidences, Nagabhatta is the founder. Who? Nagabhatta is the founder. Who is the founder? As per the evidences available, Nagabhatta is the founder of this dynasty. The Pratiharas ruled Sindh region by keeping Kanauj as their capital city. Which was the capital city of Gurjara Pratiharas? Earlier, Kanauj. Kanauj is the capital city of the Gurjara Pratiharas. They fought back the frequent Arab attacks. See, Arabs were very, very aggressive in attacking and extending their religion. You know that in Europe they wanted to extend their territory till Spain. The similar activity they conducted in India, but these Gurjara Pratiharas fought back the frequent Arab attacks, prevented the Arab attacks. Then you know that one of the prominent ruler, Mihira Bhoja and Mahendrapala. Mihira Bhoja and Mahendrapala are the powerful rulers of this dynasty. Powerful rulers, Mahendrapala. Then they have defeated the Palas of Bengal and extended their Pratihara kingdom till Bengal. Then one of the Arab travelers, an Arab traveler named Suleiman had visited the court of Mihra Bhoja. Suleiman. What did he say? He visited the court of Mihra Bhoja and appreciated the kingdom as it had peace. See, if the king is able to provide peace, it is the greatest contribution to the people. Peace is the first thing to be provided. If the people live happily, peacefully, then everything will be okay. The same thing appreciated by Suleiman, an Arab traveler. Whomever he appreciated. He appreciated about Mihra Bhoja, one of the prominent rulers. Okay, Pratihara's rule declined during the rule of Mahipala, who succeeded Mahendrapala. Dear children, once again recapitulate the point. Pratiharas ruled the Sindh region, almost all here, and their capital is Kanauj. They fought back the frequent Arab attacks. Then who are the prominent and powerful rulers of this dynasty? Mihra Bhoja and Mahendrapala were the powerful rulers of this dynasty. And they defeated the Palas of Bengal and had extended their territory till Bengal. And an Arab traveler who named Suleiman visited the kingdom of Mihra Bhoja and appreciated the kingdom as it had peace. This is all about Gurjara Pratiharas. Another one of the prominent dynasties of Rajput, Garhwalas. Who? Garhwalas. This is also one of the prominent dynasty. Who is the founder of this dynasty? Chandradeva. Chandradeva is the founder of this dynasty. Do you know who is the founder of Gurjara Pratihara dynasty? As per the available evidences, Nagabhatta is the founder. But do you know who is the founder of Garhwalas? Chandradeva, the founder of this Garhwala dynasty. They ruled the northern India. Northern India. See the image. Yes, Chandradeva, and keeping Varanasi as their capital. Varanasi as their capital. Varanasi. You know that Varanasi is, do you know Varanasi is another name? Varanasi was the capital in those days. And do you know the capital city of Gurjara Pratiharas? Kanauj was the capital city. And here another prominent ruler is Govinda Chandra. Govinda Chandra was one of the prominent ruler and prominent and important ruler of Garhwala dynasty. He extended his rule till Malwa and Magadha. See the image. See the image of Garhwala, Google image of Garhwala dynasty. They extended Malwa, Malwa Plateau. Just imagine Malwa Plateau, Malwa. Then Magadha by defeating Palas. See, he also defeated the kings of Kalinga. How can you say, my question is, how can you say Govinda Chandra is one of the important rulers of Garhwalas? You can explain. Govinda Chandra is important ruler of Garhwala dynasty. He extended his rule till Malwa and Magadha by defeating Palas. By defeating Palas. Then he extended his territory till Kalinga, means Odisha. He defeated the kings of Kalinga. He defeated the kings of Kalinga, and extend his territory till Odisha, means Odisha. The rulers of Kashmir, the rulers of Gujarat and Chola had cordial relation with Govinda Chandra. Now my question, note down the question, my dear children. How can we say, or how can you say, Govinda Chandra is an important ruler of Garhwala dynasty? One question. Second question is, what are the military achievements of Govinda Chandra? Another question, which is the capital city of Garhwalas? If you go through these small questions, you can able to understand the lesson. That is why I ask in between some question also, in between the lesson I ask some questions. Okay, now we discussed Garhwalas in brief. Now we are moving to see another dynasty, that is Paramaras. Who? Paramaras. Paramaras came to prominence after the decline of Pratiharas. Who? Paramaras. They came after the decline of Gurjara Pratiharas. And here we need to understand the person, that is Upendra Krishnaraj. Who is this Upendra? Upendra Krishnaraj. He was the feudatory king of Rashtrakutas. Means subordinate king of Rashtrakutas. Who? Upendra Krishna. He was the feudatory king of Rashtrakutas. And he founded this dynasty. Now my question is, who is the founder of Paramaras? The answer is clear. Upendra Krishna, the feudatory king of Rashtrakuta, was the founder of Paramara dynasty. They made Dharanagar as their capital. They started their administration from Dharanagar. If possible, draw an outline map and try to locate the following places which Kanauj, Dharanagar, Malwa, Kalinga and Magadha. Homework, just do an activity. Which are the region? Kanauj, then Malwa, Magadha, then Dharanagar. These regions. Okay, here Bhoja is the most popular king of Paramara dynasty. He extended the Paramara state by defeating Kalyana Chalukyas, Gangas of Kalinga and northern Konkan kingdoms. See, Bhoja is the most popular king of Paramara dynasty. Who is the most popular king of Garhwalas? Answer is very simple, Govinda Chandra. Who is the prominent king of Paramara dynasty? Bhoja was the popular and prominent king of Paramara dynasty. See, as a king, Bhoja experienced a lot of ups and downs in his political sphere. In his political sphere, Bhoja, popular king, he experienced ups and downs. That's common. As a king, it is common. In the political sphere, he come across ups and downs. But he remained undefeated in the area of literature because he himself was a poet. He is not only a warrior, he is not only a king, he himself was a poet. As the kings who came after him were weak, then Paramara dynasty declined. This is all about Paramara dynasty. Dear children, today we come across, started and begin the lesson medieval period and how it is transitional and what are the changes occurred in those days and how they prepared, what happened after the arrival of Turks, how monotheism was expounded, and how the centralized power structure established, and what is a multi-state political system, and which are the best example for multi-state political system. Then Rajput, if you want to study the multi-state political system, the Rajput dynasties are the best example for that. And after the decline of Harshavardhana, means Vardhana dynasty of Taneshwar, they emerged. These leaders, means Rajput leader emerged as the strong leaders. There were so many tiny political system. That means Rajput dynasties were there, that we discussed it in the beginning. Gurjar Pratiharas, then Garhwalas, then Paramaras we discussed it. And I hope we will go through this video and what I have given you, that note draw an outline map and locate the places I have mentioned. Sai Ram, do well.